Hook, imagine waking up one morning, walking out to the land your family has cherished for generations, only to find houses. Rows of houses that you never approved, never signed off on, never even heard about being built. Imagine strangers moving into homes that stand on your soil, introducing themselves as your new neighbors, while a smug HOA president insists you don't own the ground beneath your feet. Now imagine finding out that you do. Every inch, and that their empire, her empire, was built on your foundation. That's my story. The one about how Karen, the HOA queen of the county, built 98 homes on land she didn't own. This isn't just about property. It's about betrayal, community, and how the truth, no matter how deeply it's buried, always finds its way to the surface. Stick with me until the end, because what happened after I revealed the truth left everyone stunned, including me. The land wasn't just dirt and grass to me. It was the last piece of my grandfather's dream, a 47-acre stretch just outside town where he raised cattle, planted pecan trees, and swore we'd never sell to developers. After he passed, my father carried that promise. And when Dad died, the papers came to me, deed, surveys, everything. It was mine, not to sell, not to squander, but to protect. So when I drove out one spring morning and found construction equipment already tearing up the soil, I thought I was hallucinating. Bulldozers rumbling, cement trucks rolling, frames of houses stretching up against the skyline. I stood frozen, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. I pulled over and stormed to the nearest worker. "What are you doing here?" He shrugged, sweat dripping down his forehead. "Mom, I just follow orders." "Talk to the HOA president, Karen. She runs this development." Karen. I knew the name. Everyone did. A sharp-dressed, sharp-tongued woman who seemed to believe the entire county bent to her will. I found her a few yards away, clipboard in hand, barking orders like a general. She looked me up and down with a smirk. "You must be the farmer's granddaughter," she said, voice dripping with condescension. "Don't worry, dear. You'll love what we're doing. We're turning this useless pasture into a premier subdivision. It's called Oak Creek Estates. Beautiful, isn't it?" "This is my land," I snapped. "You can't just build here." Her smile didn't falter. "Sweetheart, the county approved everything. We filed paperwork, permits, everything is legal. You might want to double-check your records. Maybe you don't own as much as you think." My stomach twisted. Could she be right? My hands shook as I drove home, digging through the old lockbox with the deed, the maps my grandfather kept, the legal descriptions of every corner. But the more I looked, the more the knot in my chest grew. Karen wasn't bluffing. Somehow, she had pulled the wool over the county's eyes. And if I couldn't prove what I owned, those 98 homes would stand forever. The weeks that followed nearly broke me. Imagine strangers moving onto your soil while everyone around you whispered that maybe you were crazy, maybe you were mistaken. I hired lawyers, only to hear them sigh and say, "These things get messy. She's got influence." But I wasn't alone. A few of the new homeowners, young couples, single parents, retirees, started to notice the cracks in Karen's empire. Literally, houses built too fast, with shoddy materials. Sewage lines backing up, driveways flooding, and when they asked for help, Karen's HOA hit them with fines instead. One woman, Laura, came to my porch in tears. "I don't know who to trust. She told us this was safe. We poured everything into this house." That was the turning point. These weren't just houses on my land. They were people's lives. And if Karen thought intimidation would silence me, she was wrong. I gathered every scrap of paper my family had saved, deeds signed in ink older than me, maps hand-drawn by surveyors decades ago, county clerk stamps. I drove 3 counties over to find an old lawyer who had known my grandfather. He flipped through the papers, looked up at me, and said, "They built on your land. All of it." Court became my battleground. Karen strutted in with her army of lawyers, while I carried boxes of old records. For months, it felt like David against Goliath. Every hearing, she smirked, whispering to reporters that I'd lose everything. But then came the day the judge spread the maps across the bench, compared them line by line with the county filings, and leaned back in silence. He tapped his gavel once. "This property," he declared, "belongs entirely to the plaintiff. Every structure built on it stands on her land. The HOA has no authority here." The room fell silent. Karen's face drained of color. "But here's the twist. You'd expect me to evict everyone, to tear it all down out of revenge." And for a while, the temptation burned in me. But then I saw Laura, clutching her daughter's hand in the back row, tears streaming down her face. They weren't villains. They were victims, just like me. So I did something Karen never would have done. I offered compassion. I met with every homeowner, explained the truth, and worked out a way for them to lease the land directly from me. Safe, fair, and without Karen's suffocating grip. One by one, they joined me, walking away from the HOA's chains. Karen lost everything. Her empire crumbled overnight. But the community we built together stood stronger than anything she could have imagined. And me. I kept my grandfather's promise. The land is still ours. Still whole. Still alive. And that's why I say, no matter how powerful someone looks, no matter how loud they shout, truth has a way of breaking through. Sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't tearing others down. It's lifting people up, where the selfish ones tried to keep them low.